The White Snoop and T-Rose Show, starring the White Snoop and T-Rose.
Tweet us during the show using the hashtag #SnoopRoseShow.
The White Snoop and T-Rose Show.
And welcome back, everybody, to the White Snoop and T-Rose Show. Of course, on the White Snoop, this is T-Rose. First episode after the All-Star break. I'm sure that was a lot of fun for you guys to stay home and watch. I know this guy's a big fan. So looking forward to it being in New York next year, though, so we can actually attend live. It'll be a lot more fun than watching it from home, I hope.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I hope. I think it will. I have my hopes up. I mean, obviously, I'm spending the money to buy all the tickets. So I hope you're thinking the same thing. So, but yeah, of course, just past the All-Star break, we had our annual trade deadline. And like every year, there's a lot of small deals. You don't really get a ton of blockbusters at the trade deadline.
Not anymore.
I mean, sometimes.
Not anymore. There really wasn't a...
every random...
There wasn't like the big... The last couple of years there hasn't been like that big marquee guy.
Just, let's face it. I mean, I think I said it a couple of shows ago. The Knicks weren't trading Carmelo Anthony. Oh, no. We just talked about the possibility.
Yeah, no, I know, but yeah,
rumors are out there. We had to mention.
Yeah, I don't think Kevin Love will get traded until either this, either over the summer or maybe during the draft. Yeah. So, all those the big marquee guys, I didn't think they were going anywhere.
Yeah. Usually, the biggest trade that happens at the trade deadline is, and in this case, it did include a starter, not necessarily a star, but at least somebody that starts. We had one trade involving a starter.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's usually what you get. I mean, every now and then you get that crazy move, but it's pretty rare.
Yeah, well, like I said, like, new CBA teams aren't exactly...
Yeah. You could definitely see some moves that were just teams trying to get under the cap.
Yeah, definitely. A lot.
Some of the, of course, minor moves was, Miami Heat moved Roger Mason. That was, we want to open roster spot in case we decide to sign somebody else.
Yeah.
That's what that was. I know the Clippers moved Anton Jameson and Byron Mullins. Probably also, just roster space moves. Since they didn't bring anything back.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, of course, paying less luxury tax for guys that you're not gonna use anyway.
Exactly use, yeah. No, yeah, basically.
Unless you're the Brooklyn Nets, and who cares about?
Yeah, who cares about the luxury tax?
Because they.
I think Mark Stein said it best. Every team in the NBA except the Brooklyn Nets are running away from the luxury tax when Brooklyn doesn't seem to really care. So
well, I wouldn't say the Knicks and Lakers are running from it, although they're not.
They're not good.
They're not quite as anxious to take on more luxury tax like the Nets are.
Yeah.
They're not exactly running either, though.
Yeah.
A lot of those other teams are, even Chicago, which is one of the larger markets, has fought to get under. I mean, the Lakers, I think, were interested in it, but they didn't really seem to put a lot of effort into getting under either. The Nets, though, they made a trade to bring in somebody. They just signed Jason Collins to a 10-day contract. And obviously, if that works out, there's another player.
Yeah. Well, maybe something to talk about later.
Yeah. Prokop's definitely... This has to be a record for, most team salary and
I think
luxury.
I think Stein, ESPN's Mark Stein, said that their payroll is going to be like $200+ million after all the taxes.
That has to be a record.
That's ridiculous.
I don't know exactly. I didn't think to look up the record before the show. But I feel pretty confident saying that.
Think about it. Remember the year the Mavs won the championship? Remember, we used to make fun of their payroll because it was close to 100.
Yeah.
And close to 100. Theirs is 200+.
Well,
that's just crazy.
The Mavs were close to 100 before the luxury tax.
Yeah. No, I know.
The luxury tax penalties back then weren't as stiff.
Well, yeah, obviously.
So they had a dollar for dollar. The simple luxury tax. They didn't have all the stiff penalties that the Nets are paying right now.
Yeah.
So I mean, Mark Cuban probably maybe 120.
Yeah.
And that was considered a lot.
I know.
And Prokhorov goes, chump change.
Yeah, I know.
Starts throwing money at guys. I mean, he was talking about trading for Jordan Hill. They said they would have added like $20 million because of all the...
Yeah, because of all the taxes. Wow. Just 20...
Can you imagine $20 million for Jordan Hill?
I know, I was going to say the same thing.
Oh,
but,
man. Hey, I guess if you got it, if you got it, spend it, right? I don't know. Shit. I'll go join the team.
Yeah, but you don't get the money though. you
don't
get the tax money.
But I'll take the 5.
Oh, right.
I'll take the 5 to Jordan to bring it home. So, yeah. What are some other small deals? I mean, the Raptors and Spurs made a move. Austin Day went to San Antonio. Nando Nicola went to Toronto.
Austin Day. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Just gonna leave it at that.
Another bench move.
Moving on.
Of course, Toronto have been looking for a third string point guard, which is what Nando Nicola is going to play there. And I have no idea why San Antonio wants Austin Day.
But then again, there's Popovich.
That's the thing, though, that makes it scary. It's like, why do they want him?
When we read in the box score, he'll have like a 20-10 game or something.
When I say why do they want him, I'm not making fun of them. I actually really want to know why they want him because
they know something that we don't.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. And
we'll have to stay tuned for that.
Yeah, it's an interesting trade because you think of the Spurs, and obviously Masai Ujiri's gotten a great reputation. So obviously both of them saw something in the other guy. Although a lot of Spurs players come out of there and played well for other teams. Speaking of which, Gary Neal went on the move. He's no longer in Milwaukee.
What a shocker!
Yeah. Of course, though the big trade. There was all these small trades. Oh, the other one that was fun. Steve Blake going to Golden State. That's going to be.
That's a nice little move for them.
I think that's one of the more not talked about trades that actually was pretty big.
Yeah,
that's big for their bench.
No, definitely. I mean,
that's kind of what I mean.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think come later in the year, postseason time, that'll be one of those things that they talk about a lot. Trading for Steve Blake. I mean,
looking back at kind of a deal.
Yeah,
like when that starts working, people are going to look back and go, "Wow, that was a really good move."
Yeah.
I mean, Steve Blake, obviously he shoots the 3. He can set up his teammates, and he's going to fit perfect bombing 3s. And he could play alongside Stephen Curry, and he can back him up. I mean, which kind of gives him, I'm not saying Steve Blake is as good as Jared Jack, but it kind of gives him a similar dynamic at least, that they can bring in, which will be good for them. Of course, the big trade happened just about at the deadline was Danny Granger, who everybody's been talking about as possibly being moved.
Yeah, I mean,
was sent to Philly, although I don't think he's buying a home there. And
he's probably not even going there.
Well, they have to, technically, by NBA rules, he has to report.
Okay, so he's going there, but he's not going there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, he's getting a hotel room, not an apartment.
He probably reported and left. Went back to Indiana.
Well, a hotel room, spend the night.
Probably not. I'm not even going to
Got a Philly cheesesteak?
You can get that. You can get that on the way out, though. Get one on the way in and get one on the way out. He's all set.
Hit up Pat's. Have you ever been there?
Yes.
Oh, good stuff. Now I'm hungry. You want to go to Philly after this?
Yeah, we might have to.
So yeah, that I don't expect to ever see Danny Granger in a 76ers uniform. He'll probably wear 76ers gear as much as Andrew Bynum did.
Wow. That's a good one.
I went there.
Wow.
And
you got to watch out those low shots to Andrew Bynum. He's got bad knees. You got to watch that. That's a low shot. That's. Oh man. Anyway.
Of course, the bigger part of that move is the actual fact that Evan Turner is now in Indiana. I think that's going to be good for them on a couple different levels.
Oh, you want to go? Yeah, I'll let you go first.
Well, the reason why I think it's good for them is, obviously he's a really good player. He's going to come off their bench, give them that punch that they really need. He can score when they need to, and he's going to do everything that they need to kind of come off the bench to help them win that championship this year. Because obviously that's their end goal. Now they have Evan Turner along with C.J. Watson Andrew Bynum and Louis Scoley coming off their bench, you know, and that can be really good for them. I think the other interesting dynamic actually goes to the offseason. Evan Turner, young player, locked in. Lance Stevenson is set to be a free agent. I think it puts the ball in the Pacers' court more, because obviously Lance Stevenson can get paid. I don't think the Pacers want to pay him as much as maybe the market can pay him. And now the Pacers can kind of go, well, this is what we offer you.
But
and if you
is Turner, is this what? Because I remember there are a lot of rumblings in Philly that the reason they moved him is because they
didn't want to pay him.
They didn't want to pay him when he became time, which I think is it after next year?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think it's kind of Indiana's way of saying, like, hey, if you want to walk away, like this, we have somebody already that can step into your spot, and we won't falter a bit. If you think about it, if Lance Stevenson leaves with Evan Turner stepping in, they'll be just as good as they were before Danny Granger came back. Like, so, I mean, and I think that's a really, really smart move. Larry Bird has been genius with that team. I mean, building it from, I mean, Paul George was 10th, Roy Hibbert was 17th. You know, it's not like he doesn't have number one picks that he's nailing. Like, it's 10 and 17, and you know, the trades he's made, you know, for, you know, picking up Andrew Bynum could be good for them. You know, the signing of David West, you know, bringing him in has obviously worked out. You know, and then he worked to re-sign him. Lance Stevenson has worked out. He was a second rounder, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
And
I believe so. I think he was second rounder.
You know, obviously he's worked out. You know, we joke about George Hill, and yeah, I do still believe he's overpaid. But obviously he's working out for them. I mean, they've done this much.
Well, he's not a scrub either. So.
Yeah, and C.J. Watson, I think bringing him in was a really good move. And this Evan Turner move, it's another stroke. I mean, Louis Scoley too. I skipped him. I mean, so think about these guys.
Yeah, but Louis Scoley, I mean, he was amnestied, so it was easy to bring him there because they didn't have to pay him a lot of money.
But he did it.
Yeah, but I don't know. That's
Louis Scoley could have went anywhere.
No, I know, but but when you get amnestied, he could have went anywhere, but obviously you're going to go to a winning team. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, Larry Bird constructed that winning team to attract them.
All right. Technicality over there.
I'm just saying bringing in Louis Scoley was a smart move.
No, it was definitely a smart move.
There's a lot of idiots he could have brought in. I mean, there's other teams that bring in the idiots. I'm just saying. So he's bringing in good pieces, and they're poised to make a run at that championship, and they can make smart moves for next year. So I think Larry Bird is definitely in the running, and in my opinion, he's the front runner to win Executive of the Year.
I can't even think of anybody else to even say he should get it.
That's my pick so far. And I don't even think there's going to be. I think Larry Bird, Executive of the Year, Coach of the Year, Most Valuable Player of the Year. It's quite a fucking resume. Just saying. So, the interesting part, back to the Danny Granger side, you know, of course, the rumblings now is that he wants out, and he's pissed at the trade.
Surprise, surprise.
I mean, not a lot of people would want to go play in Philly right now. I mean, I would, because the NBA minimum is only like, what, 400 and something thousand, which is way more than I make right now. So, for the money, I mean, losing wouldn't even matter because I'd be so happy as I cash my check every week. But for NBA players who make more than that, they'd rather do it while winning. So, I mean, I don't think it's a surprise that he's upset. It'll be interesting to see where he goes. I mean, after 30 days, he can go back to Indiana, where he said he always wanted to stay. He wanted to retire. Obviously, he's going to be taking a pay cut to do that. So I guess that'd be a decision he would have to make. He could be a dick, and he can go to the competitor, fly down, bring his talents to South Beach, so to speak. You know, they're looking for another wing guy. You know, they love those wing guys down there.
I know.
I mean, he could fly out to one of those Western Conference teams and join up. I mean, I mean, the Clippers. He can go to San Antonio. You know, I guess the Thunder wouldn't really work out too well for him. I guess he could play the two alongside Durant in the wings. Be interesting. I mean, there's a lot of different options because obviously he wants to go to a contending team. I mean, he's not buying out from the Sixers to go play for the Bobcats. No offense to the Bobcats because they might actually be in the playoffs this year, but yeah, or maybe he would. I don't know. maybe Michael Jordan can convince him because we all know how good of an owner he is.
Wow. Hey.
But then I don't know. So there's some other interesting buyouts. They're saying Big Baby Davis is working on his buyout right now. There's already rumors he's going to the Clippers. So that could be interesting. You know, he obviously played really well under Doc Rivers in Boston. You know, came out the bench, played his role. So, you know, if he could do good for them and kind of add some more depth to their front court, could be useful. You know, as long as he doesn't act like a big baby. I don't know. Sad to say it. There's so many like funny stories and clips of him freaking out.
Yeah, no.
In Orlando, apparently. They're probably both sides are probably happy to get him out of there.
Yeah. I mean, what is there to say about?
You know.
Yeah.
They get rid of him and he gets to go to a winning team. Some other interesting buyout rumors: Cron Butler in Milwaukee. Another team I am not surprised that a player wants to leave, especially later in his career. I'm sure he wants to sign somewhere that he's probably gonna do the same thing. He's gonna go to one of these winning teams, see where he can contribute off the bench. I mean, I don't even think I have to repeat the teams. I mean, he's more likely going to a contender because the only reason why he wouldn't is if one of these other lowly teams goes, oh, here's all this money to come here. And I just don't see anybody doing that for Cron Butler, unfortunately, for his bank account. So, I mean, he'll probably end up on one of these contenders coming off the bench. I don't know if you see anything else different with him.
Karan? No,
Yeah.
I mean, good player. No, he'll definitely could just want to go to a winning team, and I don't see any teams offering up a lot of money to any of these. Crazy money.
I think Danny Granger could be the only one that we're talking about that could be lucky enough to. He's not going to make $15 million again.
No, not even close. I don't think that.
But I can picture one of these teams going, look, like you could sign there for $1 million to win a championship, but here's $5 million, to build with us. I don't think he would do it, but at least I could see it happening at least with him as compared to these other guys, especially the next two. The Knicks have 2 buyouts they're working on. Meta World Peace.
Surprise.
So
I actually almost forgot he was even on the team.
Yeah.
He just that just totally didn't work out the way they were hoping it would. they were hoping that he would have. Obviously he's lost a step or 3, and he's not, good defensively as he was. But they were hoping that he would have came in there and helped out. But it just never really worked out. And
I would love to see him in Miami.
Oh my God! Whoa.
I don't know why, just something about him in Miami, and I just like the idea of it.
It could happen.
Yeah. I actually wouldn't mind Beno Udrih for them. Like, it's just obviously he wouldn't really get a lot of minutes. He can always, there's some interesting spots Beno Udrih can go as a point guard. He's solid.
Yeah, no, he's
obviously going to come off the bench. He's not going to start anywhere, but yeah, he's a solid player. There's a lot of interesting teams that he can go to. I'm sure. See, both those guys too. Part of his age, they're older. They just want to win a ring. At that point, and when you're 30, 34, like your legacy isn't being, MVP or 6th man of the year, or defensive player. Like the only part that's, think of a guy like Steve Kerr. The only thing cool that he gets to say is he has 5 rings. Unless did he win a 3-point shootout too? Right.
I think so. He made a game-winning shot in the deciding game of the finals.
As part of his ring.
I understand that.
I mean, he wasn't a scrub either. Like,
no,
he earned those 5 rings.
Yeah, he could play. He wasn't a...
But I mean, when you think about it, like, I mean, if he didn't win 5 rings, I mean, and he was on bum teams his whole career, like, nobody would ever talk about Steve Kerr or guys like that. Like, guys that are as good as Steve Kerr with no rings, nobody talks about. Like, that's the only way that you're ever remembered, is you're on a championship roster. I mean, that's the only reason why I know who Luke Walton is. He's not even as good as Steve Kerr.
Well, I think everybody would know who Luke Walton was.
Because he's Bill Walton's son.
Walton's son.
I guess he's a bad...
Yeah, that wasn't
bad example.
That was not a good one. You gotta think fast.
Well, I mean,
think fast.
I was just thinking about those Jordan Farmar. He was on the same Laker team.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. Steve Blake. Steve Blake's probably a really good comparison.
Okay, that's a good one.
He hit some big shots for the Lakers. You know, he's got a pair of rings. But if he wasn't a part of those teams and he just had, you know, his stats and that was all he had, like, nobody would care about Steve Blake 10 years from now. Steve Blake was a role player in a championship team. That's probably the best highlight of his entire career. You know, and Ben Odrick, and, you know, he can get another ring, or get a ring. Did he get one with San Antonio? Actually,
I don't know.
I forget. You know, I know Metta World Peace obviously got one with the Lakers. He's going to try to get another ring. I mean, that's the only thing you're trying to do at that point. You're a role player. You're trying to...
I don't know. We're talking about Metta World Peace here.
He could try to create his own planet at this point. Nothing would surprise me.
Metallian?
Yeah. Metallian. Wow. He can invite J.R. Smith to come drive on his planet with the truck.
Yeah, he'll buy a space shuttle with all the money he's making. But anyway.
Well, he's only making... Well, I guess he's Amnesty, so he is making that Amnesty money. So, yeah, there's a lot of guys still making Amnesty money. Isn't Gilbert Arenas still making Amnesty money?
I think this is the last... I think this is the last year. It's funny, I was looking at this, like, a month ago, laughing. I think this is the last year.
I think Gilbert Arenas should take out every NBA fan in the world and just buy him a drink.
Nah. What does he do? What is...
If he bought every, like, NBA fan in the country...
When was he amnesty? How many years ago? We got to fix.
Well, let's see. The amnesty provision came in 2011.
I think it was...
So I'm going to say it was 2011.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I think this is the... I think this was
he can buy everybody
year.
In this country a drink and probably still have money.
I think this is the last year of his 100... You know, he was making like 20 plus mil too.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. He
I
can
think
afford to buy us a drink.
I think this is Rashard Lewis's last...
All I'm asking for is a drink.
No, I just one?
Just one. I mean, we're talking about buying millions of drinks. For $20 million, when you think about it, if you made, you know, there's 5 million NBA fans, you know, talking like real NBA fans, you know, that would actually know who Gilbert Arenas is, you know, and he buys them all a drink. There's $5 million, $4, you know, $5, you know, and you got to tip the guy. It's $22 million right there.
There you go.
So.
Yeah, he's still making it. Who else? Rashard Lewis is still making it. There's a lot of guys. There's got to be someone. Who we forgetting? We're forgetting somebody. Who we forgetting?
Isn't Brandon Rice on?
Yeah, but his is a little different. He got hurt. At least.
Well,
I'll give him a pass. He got injured. You know, kind of Gilbert did too, but you know, he got injured too, but he had other problems. Rashard Lewis just forgot how to play basketball after he got paid.
Yeah. Sorry, we got it rigged now.
Yeah.
We did. And
just forgot how to play. I'll never be able to figure that out. That would be like one of the.
He left his talents in Seattle.
You know, to go to Orlando. He was like decent there like the first year, and then it just went downhill from there. I've never seen anything like that ever.
I don't know.
Can you think? Well, I don't know. Maybe if I can think of someone else during the course of the show, I'll just shout it out. But I can't. But anyway, it was a sign and trade max deal
to go to
Orlando. 6 years, 124. I don't know. It's gonna be hard to. I'm thinking now as we're doing this, and I can't think of anything. I'm trying to think if there's anyone that like, I don't know. Just keep going.
There are a lot of funny stories about guys. Not that specific though. Just thinking about guys that have been paid and then just
forget how to play.
Not just forget how to play, but like, but just think about like the whole Eddie Curry situation, like Stephon Marbury. Or in the final year, we discussed this on the show. We still make fun of him. Just don't even come.
Yeah, but Marbury could. I think it was.
He could still play.
Yeah, he can still play.
I said it's different.
Yeah,
different story.
With him,
saying guys that like they get paid and then all of a sudden something happens.
Yeah,
it's not necessarily their lack of play.
With him, it was just he had personality issues and they wanted to buy him out and he wouldn't take it at first. Remember there's a lot.
Well, he wanted all the money.
Yeah, he would. Yeah, there's a lot of friction going on there. There's a lot.
They were like, you know what, just stay home.
Just stay home. We will pay you to stay home. That's the job that I need.
Yo, can you imagine?
And he was like, he was like going to all the games and sitting courtside. Oh man.
Like, can you imagine that? Like anywhere else? Like, could you imagine like your job, like you getting in trouble and then buying like a ticket to a game, or like I work in a restaurant. Like imagine like I got like my job said, look, like here's money to stay home, and then I come out to eat. You know what I mean?
At the restaurant?
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be kind of funny.
Like imagine that.
Like, hey, Greg.
Like imagine like a retail store, like here's money to stay home, and you go there and buy clothes. Something. Like it's like,
wow.
I just thought it was so funny, and they were good seats too.
Like, he was courtside.
Yeah,
like, they showed him on TV, just like
at Madison Square Garden.
No, the one that killed me is when they played the Lakers in L.A.
He went on the road.
He went on the road. Like they showed him like the beginning of the game.
I was spiteful. Like he traveled. And he's like, wait till these motherfuckers see me in the Staples Center.
Got some money.
Sitting next to Jack.
Let's go to a game in L.A. Let's go check this Laker game out. Oh, they're playing the Knicks.
Oh, even better.
Bye. Bye.
I mean, I guess he had a lot of money and a lot of time.
I know. Bye. He's all over that. I'm trying to think. See, I'm really trying to think if there's ever a guy.
I mean, I guess if you're making $20 million a year and you have all day to think of stuff, you could probably come up with a lot of funny stuff to do. Like, imagine if you just made $20 million a year and you had all day, every day, all to yourself.
Wow. Yeah.
I would just start using money to, like, play pranks on people at one point. Like, just to entertain myself.
Wow.
Why not, right?
Stephon Marbury getting some talk on the show. Kind of love it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he created the material. It's pretty easy.
Yeah, no, he was definitely a one of a kind guy. Good player too. It's just I forget who said it. I think one of the ESPN guys said that he's probably like one of the worst cases of wasted talent that he's ever seen.
He's actually done well in China.
Of course, but
they love him. Although he did get in trouble recently.
Yeah.
But for the most part, though, like they have loved him. He's played really well over there. So.
No, like you said, it was never his play. He was just a personality. I mean.
Well, which showed even after the suspension.
Yeah, no.
Because he still came to games. They probably forgot to write that in the suspension.
I don't even think they suspended him. They just said stay home.
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah, because suspended you don't get paid.
Yeah.
So they were just like, look, just.
They forgot the don't come to our games clause.
Yep.
They did say stay away. That's probably why he bought the tickets.
They gave him the head nods. Just don't.
Like you don't have to come to practice anymore or games. Just make sure your address is up to date. We'll send you the check.
Yeah.
I need that.
Or just give us the right routing number so we can.
We'll just direct deposit that. Yeah. Eventually, they just lump sum it just to get rid of them.
Whoa.
That was like 4 minutes of Stephon Marbury talk. That's awesome. I bet nobody expected that.
No.
I didn't even expect that.
Words.
Wait, where were we again? Oh yeah, it was Meta World Peace.
Yeah. Oh yeah, okay. What
Another
else?
character.
Yeah. What else is there to say?
Yeah, I think, like I said, we have to wait and see where these guys start talking, but all these buyout guys are going to end up probably on some of these contenders. Like I said, I don't see a lot of like the lower end teams really forking out money to get these guys. I don't see those guys even wanting to play on a losing team at this point in their career. So, and of course we've been going, and I don't know if the people at home notice. We haven't really had any injury talk, which has been...
Yeah, no...
we don't have any new injuries really to report, but, it was recently announced that JaVale McGee is going to be officially out for the rest of the season. Of course, we've already talked, he's already been out for a while. He was eventually ruled out indefinitely and talked about possibly missing the whole season.
What was his injury again? What was it?
It was a leg. I forget exactly now. It's been so long now. He got hurt back in November.
Gotta worry about those big guys with leg injuries, man. Ugh.
So
they gotta worry about. Hopefully he comes back. He's, hopefully. Well, maybe while he's sitting out, he can get his basketball IQ up a little bit, so we can stop making fun of him. Even though for our show that would be bad, but for him it'd be good.
And Jack in the Fool would probably tank.
Oh no, because Kendrick Perkins is still in the league.
Yeah, that is true. Although he's not getting as many minutes recently. I don't know if you heard about that.
Yeah.
He's still getting plays, so he's not.
So, well, he's...
But... just think that JaVale McGee... Those poor Nuggets, man. JaVale McGee's out.
Lawson's
out. Gallinone is out.
Robinson.
Oh, that's another trade. We missed that one. And Andre Miller, he got moved.
Oh, he's I forgot about that. That's a nice little pickup for them. A
little backup to John Wall.
Kind of, Andre Miller will go down as one of the more underrated, underappreciated players in the NBA. I've always been an Andre Miller guy. But he doesn't get the...
They picked up somebody to play point guard.
Who?
I forgot who it was.
Who did?
The Nuggets.
Oh.
Because I remember when they traded Andre Miller, I was like, who's supposed to play point now? Lawson's out, Nate Robinson's out, and Andre Miller just got traded. And then they picked up somebody. Nobody really that impressive. I'm kind of to the point, I don't think the Nuggets are going to make the playoffs anymore.
Too many injuries to overcome, too much.
Their roster's so depleted at this point. If you remember, you go back, watch the previous show, neither of us picked them to be a high seed. We both thought they were going to be a low seed playoff team. If we were talking 7-8 seed.
Right. Too many.
And now 3 of their starters are injured. and one of their backups, one of their key backups, and another key backup has now been traded. That's 3 starters and 2 other key guys that are gone. And they were already trying to overcome, the new coach, and everything. Yeah, I think, they're not going to tank. They're not, but
no.
Instead of being a 7-8 seed, I think we're going to see them around the 10.
10, 11, yeah. I can see that. Definitely, I can see that.
So, yeah, 10, yeah, maybe 11. I don't think they're going to get that bad. I think 11 might be where they bottom out. But it's kind of sad. Fun fact, first time the Nuggets will miss the playoffs since Carmelo Anthony was drafted.
Yeah, that is...
So, although another fun fact, Carmelo Anthony may also miss the playoffs.
I don't know, fun fact.
Well, fun fact for us to laugh at. Not so fun for Knicks fans, because that's where he plays, and could be where he stays. That's still like a terrible story. Like remember the Nets obviously have continued playing well in the new year. Remember for like the first week, like the Knicks were playing well too, and it was like something about 2014, and both of the Big Apples, teams are going nuts, and everybody's happy because they're finally getting. And then the second week, the Knicks tank again, and then they start playing well again and bad, and they've been so up and down. It's like when you turn a Knick game, you never know
what you're getting.
You never know which Knick team is showing up. Like, is this the good Knick team, where they're playing defense and moving the ball, or is this the bad Knick team where You know,
There's like no effort, no
Carmelo
defense.
plays isolation while the other 4 guys just have really good seats, and you know, like, and then there's no defense. They just kind of watch the other team beat them, and they played so bad. Sadly, they played worse against bad teams, and the Magic just overcame a double-digit deficit. The Orlando Magic, who, by the way, it's 2014, they're not good right now. Like, and they can't beat these teams. You know, the Cleveland Cavaliers are struggling, but it's like they played the Knicks, and it's like they're the team that people thought were going to be in the playoffs, and it's so sad for the Knicks right now, man. I'm starting to get worried.
Oh, what?
About the Knicks not making the playoffs.
Oh, well.
I mean, they're in the 10th spot. And the East is bad enough that they're not that far out. They're only, I believe, 4 games back from the AC, which isn't a lot, but I mean, it's still 4 games. You know, and Bobcats, I think the Bobcats are there, the Hawks, you know, they're both hovering at the bottom. I mean, they're not trying to give up that spot, you know. You know, and then of course, you know, the Pistons have their interesting story. They're in the 9th seed.
Interesting story.
Well, it is. No, I'm just saying, like,
Right.
I mean, they brought in these 2 free agents that obviously haven't panned out. I don't know if you saw this. I actually meant to send you the article. There was an article right before the trade deadline that they were trying to shop Josh Smith. You know, because there's somebody that would actually trade for that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh my God! If somebody traded for that Josh Smith contract in the first year of the deal, we would be killing them right now on this show.
Yeah.
So, to all of you GMs in the NBA, you should be thankful that you did not trade for him, because we would be destroying you. Not even just us. I think every show that talks about sports in any capacity would go, oh yeah, and by the way, to you who traded for Josh Smith. Maybe shows that don't even talk about sports might bring it up. It's like, hey, I know we don't really talk about sports a lot, but I mean, that contract is terrible. He's not played well. Like, he jacks up like 6 threes to make like 1 or 2 a game.
Yeah. How was that? Yeah. Well, surprise.
I didn't say it was surprising, just saying what he does.
All right.
You know?
So, yep.
Yeah.
Josh Smith.
So, I mean, it is an interesting story. You know, now the coach has been fired. You got to... I mean, I don't... it's rough. The only good news for the Pistons, though, and I know we've said this before, but I was going to say Andre Drummond had a really good, had a pretty
Sophomore
good
campaign, yeah.
Individually, his season,
no.
He's definitely shown improvement in his game. He's played really well. So, I mean, that's I guess a good thing.
They gotta have one. Every team's gotta have one bright spot.
Yeah. I mean, we'll say for the Knicks, Melo season hasn't been that bad.
Like I said, every team's gotta
Individual.
have one. Every team's gotta have one bright spot.
Oh, it's funny because the Knicks shopped a lot of guys and they made like no moves.
Because who wants to trade for damaged goods at this point?
Well, the funny thing is that everything I read and heard was every team wanted Tim Hardaway in the trade.
I can see that.
And the Knicks were like, we're not budging on moving him. At this point,
I can see that. I mean,
at this point, I actually, and I don't say this a lot, as a matter of fact, this might be the first time I've ever said this.
uh-oh.
But James Dolan made a smart move by not trading Tim Hardaway.
Well, I was gonna say I'm just relieved that they didn't make it, because if the Knicks would have made trades, they would have been those random.
Yeah.
Like, remember the 1 year? Dude, remember the 1 year? This is going back. You got me on James Dolan now. I think it was the year, they had Marbury. Who else did they have in the backcourt? I'm trying to think. I might have to look this up. And they bring in Steve Francis.
I knew you were gonna say him.
Where is he going? But who else was on the team then? Because I remember they brought him in, and you looked at the roster and you're like, Steve Francis is gonna play for why? How? It was him, Marbury. Was Randolph still on the team then? Because I think that must have been like the Dolan. I don't give a shit. Steve Francis is available. He's making a lot of money. Let's trade for him. I think Penny Hardaway was still on the team. Like the corpse of Penny Hardaway. Like they had.
That was the Isaiah era too. Sorry, Nick fans for mentioning that.
Yeah, you are right. You are right.
Nick fans still have nightmares.
But I'm trying, I just remember.
This is every Nick fan at night. Oh my God, Isaiah's back. We started.
I just remember that year, like
every Nick fan thinks they're trading for Eddie Curry again.
They had like every, like it was like Marbury, Francis, Penny Hardaway. I think Randolph was Zebo was still on the team. Curry. It was like, and then I'm like, they traded for who? Really? Interesting.
Yeah.
So I'm just glad that they didn't have any of those this year. Because a lot of the times if
you really think about it, James Dolan already did that trade.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Before the season.
That's what I'm saying. I'm glad we're both on the same page.
Before the season.
I still don't, and I'll say it again just because I'm hoping one of the times that I say it, it just finally starts to make sense because it hasn't yet.
What?
But Carmelo Anthony.
No, just.
But he plays better at the 4. The Knicks have been better when he plays at the 4.
So let's go trade for the 4.
So why doesn't?
So you know we need.
But why does he just play the 4?
Yeah.
But instead, they go out and they trade for another starting 4. And the funny part is Andrea Bargnani is statistically like, and it's not even close. He's so much better as a starter for some reason. And so it's like, so you have 2 guys that it's in your best case scenario that they start at the 4.
Yeah, well, that's what they do. I mean, I said it.
So you have 3 options.
I mean, I said it.
And one of them is Melo comes off the bench. That's not going to happen. So I just wanted to get that first so we can get that out of the way.
Yeah, just squash that.
Your second option is Bargnani comes off the bench. And he's just a scoring punch, but then he becomes useless. So now it's like, why are you even paying him? He's making like, what, 11, 12? I think?
Yeah, it's all, yeah.
Like, and it's like, so it's almost like that can't be an option. Then it's like, okay, let's just move Melo over to the 3. And it's like, that's probably their best option, but it hasn't worked.
No.
And it's like, what the fuck is wrong with these?
Because that's what some of these teams, I swear, like when they like announce these moves, I swear to God, some of it is just I can make a deal just because. I
think James Dolan was just bored and wanted to make a headline like in the New York Post.
Like, I really think, but he's not the only one though. A lot of these teams, some teams.
Well, I'm not saying James Dolan's the only person.
A lot of them do it though. It's just like they make the move and like you're like, okay.
Why'd you do that?
Okay. Yeah, so
like, how does that help you?
Yeah, it's like, so, yeah.
The funny thing is, too, is, well, like, the part that I don't get is, like if I was, an NBA GM, okay, and I'm sitting here and I'm looking at my roster. We'll use the Knicks as an example since we're talking about them. Well, I'm just saying.
Well, hard example, because we know who runs the show there.
I'm not saying if they run the show. I said if I did.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm just using it as an example. Before the season even started, I would look at last year and go, okay, so my team was better when I had my superstar player playing the 4. And he played better when he was at the 4. So it's a lock. Carmelo Anthony's going to be my 4. Like, that would already be a lock to me when free agency started. That would be a lock to me before the draft. By the time the draft came, because obviously that's your first decision, I would already have Carmelo locked. You have a board probably in the locker room where you write your starters in. Carmelo Anthony's name would be in permanent marker on the 4. And then I would have Tyson Chandler written as the center because he doesn't play any other position. So it's like, okay, so I have a 5 and a 4.
And then the permanent marker goes away and you get the dry erase one.
Yeah. Well, then you take the dry erase one and you go, okay, well, I have Raymond Felton right now. He can go in the point guard position for now. And then you go from there. And it's funny because, and I know we made a lot of jokes. I mean, well, we didn't really make them on the show because we haven't made any jokes about him since we started this show. But Chris Copeland like he fit well with them last year, and they let him walk. Like they didn't even try, and it's like,
Damn. Didn't get my jersey.
Yeah, and it's like they didn't even try though, and he fit well with them. Then they trade, in the Bargnani trade, they traded away Steve Novak, who was big for them last year because he spread the floor, and he plays the three, plugging in, Melo's old spot. Those are their threes right there, Copeland and Novak. And, Jared Smith obviously came off the bench with Amon Shumpert, starting. Then you add Tim Hardaway, and it's like, okay, so now you got some twos. They brought back Pablo Piglioni. Like, that roster right there would have been better than what they have. Then you got Amari come off your bench.
But Bargnani was available, and that was it. I mean, that's basically what it came down to.
I'm not saying the Knicks would have been good with just those guys I know.
No, I know, but
I'm just saying it would have been better at least.
No, I agree with you.
With no moves.
Yeah, but, some of these guys, they just have to do something.
I mean, sometimes you just got to look at your personnel and think about what works for them. I mean...
Nah, I think a lot of these guys, it's like, what can I do?
I mean, Carmelo obviously needs a running mate. I mean, nobody wins by themselves.
Yeah.
He already has his defensive center. I think anybody else on that team could go. You kind of don't want to trade Tyson Chandler. That's my opinion. But any of those other guys are replaceable.
I agree with that.
And in the 3-2-1 spots in their starting lineup, I think a key to all three of those guys that they kind of need is because Tyson Chandler with his, like, I know he's not old, but he's getting older, and he's obviously had some injury issues. You don't want to overwork him, and you already have him cleaning up Melo. So I don't think that you want to get guys that are going to be as bad on the defensive end that Tyson Chandler has to clean up too much. You know what I mean? So you kind of want defensive guys and those three perimeter guys. I'm not saying they have to be Tony Allen and Rajon Rondo and Chris Paul defensively, but at least solid defenders. And you kind of want to put shooters to spread the floor for Melo, make teams offensively. So you kind of want like those those 3 and D guys. Of course, one of them has to be a playmaker. Obviously you have probably at least your point guard be somewhat of a playmaker to try to you have to do something more offensively than get the ball to Melo and hope he passes it. But it's like, if James Dolan watches this episode, I probably would have just told him something that he actually didn't know before, which is really sad because he owns an NBA team. Like, if he watched that just now, he'd be sitting in his office going, holy shit, I never really thought of that. And he's making important decisions for this team's future. Luckily for James Dolan, it takes a lot of money, not a lot of brains to buy an NBA team. Wow. I don't know. That's my rant. I don't know.
Right.
I kind of went way off topic there, but that's always really bothered me, so I had to get it off.
That's fine.
That's why we have a show.
That's it.
This is why we create a show, so we can make fun of people and
have random rants. Spur of the moment.
Yeah.
Hey, what are you going to do?
It's kind of like the shoe tying thing from the last. It's something that bothers me.
I hear you. So, well. But yeah, you're definitely right. I mean, when you're running these teams, you gotta make the right moves and
pay attention.
Yeah, like, but also, like we'll be talking about this a couple years down the road when Minnesota is in the wasteland. It's like, look at what their GM did to them.
Well, their
couple years. Yeah, that's what I mean. Their previous GM did to them. I mean, that team is going to be crippled for years because of what he did to them, and it's going to cost them to lose their superstar, best power forward in the league. I mean,
and I know everybody. It's kind of rumored that it's almost like a foregone conclusion that Kevin Love is going to leave, and if he does leave, David Kahn better move to a underground bunker somewhere because, I mean, it's just the moves that he made. I mean, he had a chance. I mean, how often do you get the 5 and 6 picks in the draft back to back? 4 and 5.
Was it 4 and 5 or 5 and 6?
No, it was 5 and 6.
I mean, how often do you get that?
And he had Kevin Love.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, like you have
but the thing is, like, you look at who was available too. It's not like he had like 5 and 6 in a draft and there was like nobody. I mean, you know, like
there was this guy that came drafted later in the draft. He was pretty good. Actually played the same position as the guys that he drafted. I mean,
he'd be really good with Kevin Love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he's. I'm not trying to say he's. He might be one of those top 10 point guards when you're looking over, and he has this incredible ability to shoot. Oh, what's his name? He's pretty good. I think we all know who I'm talking about. And for those of you who don't, it's fucking Stephen Curry.
I mean, it's just I mean, and then it's like, okay,
where's Jerry Flynn?
Johnny Flynn. I don't even
Johnny
think
Flynn. I'm thinking of the wrestler. Remember WCW?
I don't even think he's in the league anymore. But it's like, I just don't, you know. And
I always called him Jerry Flynn. I always thought that, he used to never used to fight without. He was with Ernest the Cat Miller, right?
So it's like you look at, yeah, a little bit. So it's like you look at. So it's like and it's sad because Kevin Love, Steph Curry. I mean, maybe a draft. I mean, I don't have the list right in front of me.
But even if they had Ricky Rubio, still, like, he could have drafted Curry to play the 2.
That's also true. You could have you could have taken.
You didn't even have to dump Rubio.
Yeah,
you kept Rubio
and Curry, or you take Curry and then I'm trying to think who else was in that draft. I don't have.
I mean, there's so many other possibilities.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, but to draft.
There's a ton of guys that you probably could have took that were better than Johnny Flynn.
Yeah, but to draft.
I mean, the list is better than Rubio's a little shorter.
2 point guards back to back, and it's like.
I'm just saying there was a better 2 point guards available.
Yeah. And then they drafted another one, and the funniest thing is you can argue that the one they drafted later in the first round, they ended up trading away. It's probably the best one out of all 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Ty Lawson, just in case you guys didn't know that out there. But it's like
I like Lawson. Actually, in my opinion, he is. But it's tight with him and Rubio. Yeah, I do like Rubio.
But it's
You would imagine Rubio addition to shooters like Love and Curry.
Yeah, no, I mean, but
Splash City.
Yeah,
they have Lob City in LA.
I know.
That'd be Splash City.
So now it's like
Land O'Lakes.
Yeah. So now you look at that and it's like. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, so yeah. I mean, it's obvious. It's
David Kahn robbed the NBA fans of that.
How about just Minnesota
Timberwolves
fans of that? I mean,
how many NBA fans would tune in to watch a Timberwolves game with Ricky Rubio dishing to Curry and Love at the 3-point line?
I'd say quite a few.
I'd be one of them.
Yeah, but it's then you look at.
I'm just saying.
And then like I talked about Joe Dumars on our last show. What he's done to the Pistons is just criminal. So, and then I mean, what are you gonna do? It's just. Some of these guys. I mean, even though his was mostly trades and free agent signings, but it's like, and you look at where the teams are now. So I don't know. Yeah, I mean, Minnesota. I mean, I'm sure we can sit here and think of tons of GMs that just cripple teams. Your boy Otis Smith.
Why is that my boy? I hated him.
It's your boy.
I thought he should have got fired so long ago.
He goes and does what he does.
He lasted that long.
He goes and does. He lasted that long because even though that Magic team was never going to win a championship, but they won. It wasn't like they stunk. They fired him at the end of the season because they knew that the whole thing was coming apart. But you can't.
I would have never let him make the Richard Lewis.
For
Gilbert Arenas. When he called, if I owned that team.
Well, yeah.
This is how the phone call would go. So Greg, I know you're the owner of the Orlando Magic, so I just wanted to pass this by. Yeah, this is Otis Smith. Yeah, your general manager. So we got this guy Richard Lewis. We're thinking about moving him, and I would go, okay, I'm open ears on moving Richard Lewis, and I would go, well, what are you interested in bringing back for him? And when Otis Smith's response to that question was, well, I'm thinking we can make a move with Washington, take his bad contract, flip it for an even worse contract, and bring back Gilbert Arenas.
That's longer. That has like 2 years longer, by the way.
It's worse.
But I don't think. And
it's going to be for that guy Gilbert Arenas, who hasn't really done anything recently. So how's that? So Otis, you said you're in your office? Yeah. There's going to be a couple boxes located right outside. I need you to take those and just empty it. And you can go home. You don't have a job anymore. So yeah,
I mean-
cancel that trade and good luck in all of your future endeavors. That would have how the conversation ended. You would have never heard about an actual trade because I would have ended it right there.
Yeah, I mean, and then and then he trades, and then the probably the funny, and that's not even to me. I mean, obviously that's bad, but probably the thing that he did was even worse was bringing back Turkoglu because he had the contract year there that he gets paid as a free agent. They didn't want to pay him, and it's like you know what. We probably should have paid that guy, so let's bring him back. Like, what, 2 years later? And he clearly wasn't the same guy. Let's bring him back. The guy that we didn't want to pay when he was our best player. I mean, in that finals run, he was... I mean, obviously, Dwight was huge, but he was one of the catalysts of that finals run.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, wait, we didn't want to pay him when he was our best player, but...
Now that he's struggling...
Now that he's struggling and he's getting paid, let's bring him back. It's like that to me. That was the one that was. I mean, obviously the Gilbert one is bad, but that to me that's just as bad. That's just as bad too, as far as I'm concerned.
But they were all done in the same day.
Yeah.
I would have fired Otis Smith. Those traders would have never happened.
And when did he bring in Vince? When did he get there? Oh, that was like before the season. Wasn't that like before one of the seasons? They brought him in there.
That was actually
thinking that he's from Orlando. He's gonna be happy. He's going to be 25 years old again. No, he's not.
I think that was actually part of the Hito Turkoglu sign and trade. Like, that deal was monstrous because they had 4 teams. I know Toronto, who have, got Hito Turkoglu. The Orlando Magic were involved. The Dallas Mavericks were involved because they got Sean Marion.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. So, yeah.
And
that, so now it's like, okay.
And I think New Jersey involved? That's where Vince Carter was, right?
Yes.
I think they evolved New Jersey to get Vince Carter to Orlando.
Who cares? We're making fun of Otis Smith right now.
Well, I'm trying to remember the deal. You want to know?
I'm just making fun of the deal. That's it. It's like, yep. Like you said, yeah, he's struggling and he's getting paid. Let's bring him back. That's what we need. It's like, wait a minute, what? Yeah. So that's what I mean. Like bad, just bad. Bad management just kill your team.
Lots of rants on this episode.
Yeah, I mean, and everybody forgets how bad. It's easy to forget about what the Clippers have done for years because of how good they are now. But they've had their fair shares of doozies too. I mean, it's like hello, they got lucky. The Clippers hit the lottery as far as I'm concerned when it comes to being able to kind of flip it.
By the way, can I bring up a bad move and there's one part of it that I know you talk about, but I had somebody that I was watching an analyst bring it up in a more broader sense where it only included this one move that you bring up. And it was the Nets, well, the big move that they brought up was the Nets bringing in Darren Williams. And the reason why they brought it up was they were talking about trades that they didn't like, or bad, or they call it bad contracts they were talking about. And he said Darren Williams, and he said not that he's not a great point guard, but if you really think about everything that the Nets gave up to get Darren Williams, I mean, first you think about everything that they traded to Utah, but it wasn't even just that, because if you think about it, down the line, in order to keep Darren Williams, they had to make 2 deals. One of them is the one that you always talk about, the Gerald Wallace deal. They had to trade for Gerald Wallace, and they gave up a draft pick.
And they had to.
And the draft pick ended up being this guy, Damian Lillard.
And you remember how mad I was about that too.
I'm just saying.
And didn't we have argument? Was it you I argued? Was it
but
you
they
I
had
fought
to do
with?
it.
Yeah, but was it you I fought with about this? Because I was like, could you? Because I'm like, you're telling me that pick isn't going to be someone as good as Gerald Wallace is now? But maybe it wasn't you. Was it you?
Well, I didn't say it was going to be as good. I said they kind of had to do it. And then afterwards, it was like Damian Lillard. But I argued with someone that whoever they could have drafted wouldn't have been as good as Gerald Wallace. What?
And I was like, you're out of your mind. Maybe it wasn't you.
I said they couldn't guarantee that. You couldn't guarantee they would be better than Gerald Wallace. I mean, obviously, he is.
Yeah. But
there are guys that were drafted even before Damian Lillard that aren't as good as Gerald Wallace.
You're right.
But the thing is
isn't that usually how it works with these teams? But
then since the trade, it's like, well, there's no point for them to Damian Lillard with Darren Williams playing. But it's like,
right, no,
but instead they would have had Damian Lillard kind of instead of, because they would have never had to make that trade. And then on top of it, they had to make that terrible deal to get Joe Johnson because they needed to get.
And they had to extend Wallace.
Yeah, they had to extend Wallace. First they had to trade for it, and then they had to extend him. And then they had to pay Brook Lopez, which obviously is not looking good now that his foot. You're right.
You're right.
I'm just saying that his foot.
And then the trade of all trades. Drum roll, please. Who's that guy that I don't like? The shooting guard. Johnson.
I said that.
Oh yeah, but that to me that's the icing on the cake.
I already said that one.
No,
they had a terrible deal to bring in Joe Johnson. They needed another superstar to pair with him to say, look, we mean business.
Yep.
They made all those moves to keep a guy that they gave up a lot for, and it's kind of like, I mean, if you look at what the Clippers did, if they had protected that Kyrie Irving pick, I mean, we talked about this off camera. But think about where the Clippers would be right now if they actually protected the Kyrie Irving pick and never made the Chris Paul trade.
Irving, Eric Gordon.
How good would they be?
They'd be pretty good.
I mean, I know Chris Paul gave him the immediate jump, but
remember, there's no one.
For those of you at home that I watch Kyrie Irving play,
he's pretty good.
It's pretty good, pretty good. You know, like, I mean, you're talking about. I mean, I guess I guess the difference is you have Chris Paul, best point guard in the game. You know, Kyrie Irving, top 10, but he's top 10 and pieces because you have all these other pieces around. Yeah. They gave up, the pick that ended up being Austin Rivers, was in the Chris Paul deal. Alfred
another unprotected.
Chris Kaman.
They're good at that, huh?
Chris Kaman.
Unprotected.
I know Chris Kaman's not great, but they could have re-signed him for less money to him and DeAndre Jordan could have came off the bench. They're doing a youth movement. Kaman could have been the veteran off the bench. Like I said, Alfred Camino, Eric Gordon you mentioned. They would have had Eric Bledsoe too to back up. Kyrie. I mean, it's a pretty solid
young squad too.
Yeah. But they could have developed.
Yeah, but like I said, just
to say his name, I mean, Blake Griffin is on that team still.
Yeah, no, I know. So they're like the exception to the bad management rule because they were able to recover because they made even the Brooklyn Nets too, but that's only because their owner will spend $200+ million on his team.
Yeah.
If that's any other team, they're terrible right now, as far as I'm concerned.
If you really think about it, if they didn't make all those moves, they'd probably still be kind of in the same spot, lower playoff seed.
With
just lower. See, the difference is they're a low playoff seed that had high expectations. Had they not made all those moves and they kind of had these young guys, it's like, okay, they're in the 7th seed, but this is where we expected them to be.
And their payroll would be like a third of what it is.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the only reason why the Nets, because if the Nets had any of these little owners, how bad would they be right now? Think about it. They'd be terrible.
Because they wouldn't have been able to make all those moves because they wouldn't have the money.
Yeah. So Derrick Williams, he probably wouldn't even be on the team anymore, right? And they have who on their team? Because like you said, they traded all the young guys.
Been a joke.
Oh my God! Ooh, talking about a nightmare.
So.
Whoa. I'm not sleeping tonight. Think about that.
Yeah. No,
but
although having an owner like that kind of helps, the willingness of taking that. I mean, that's a risk.
Yeah, but obviously having an owner like that helps because him being
able. If you think about it, you look at the Clippers situation. They don't have an owner like that. Like that was a huge. I think that was a bigger risk because you don't have good ownership behind you, and it's like Chris Paul had the ability to just go. Yeah, so I've met the owner and I've been around him for a while. And then he could have just left.
Yeah, no.
Then it's like, then what?
I also think what helped the Chris Paul situation is they got really good right away. It was it was like
Griffin's there too.
Yeah, it was like
And it's like then people started coming. I think the icing on the cake that probably the day that Chris Paul said, "Oh yeah, I'm going to definitely sign here," stay here is probably Doc Rivers. Why wouldn't you want to play for Doc Rivers?
Yeah, definitely. So, but that's what just some of these teams they make these the management makes these moves and it just and some of it's crippling, and sometimes the recovery is a little faster than others. But like Minnesota, man, I mean, oof.
Yeah, they might put him back in the rebuild.
Yeah, it's just, and then you're gonna have.
Good luck to Flip Saunders.
That's who their coach is now?
No, he's their GM.
Oh, that's right. I always forget about that.
Yeah.
Rick Edelman's their coach.
Yeah.
Ugh, we'll be going back in retirement after that. I mean, because you're gonna because after that you're gonna have to trade Rubio because they're gonna have to re-sign him soon. So if Love leaves, they're not gonna pay him a bunch of money to be on a crap team. I mean, you know, they did it. You know, yeah. I mean, so that whole thing is gonna get really ugly when they have to make the grand decision. Kind of like Orlando with Dwight Howard. You see where they are. I mean, obviously it's not an extreme case because you look at Orlando. They were like a top 3 team in the East before that whole thing fell apart, and then now they're one of the worst teams. And now what a year? What was it, like a year out? The whole you know. So I don't. You know, obviously Minnesota was never that good, but it's kind of like the same thing.
They're going to go from bad to worse.
Yeah, bad to worse. And where Orlando was like. Were we in the finals a couple years ago? And now we're picking number 2?
How about the Cavaliers when LeBron left?
Well, yeah, everybody knew. Yeah, but I'm just surprised nobody. And
best team to the worst team.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, and you know, it's funny. Like you and I had this conversation a couple weeks ago. You know, you look at the Cavaliers and the situation, and LeBron leaving, and everybody. Oh, they didn't get him any help, and it's they did try. It's not like they didn't do anything, and what's really sad. I won't even really say they made bad moves, but you always joke. It's Cleveland. Who the hell wants to go to Cleveland? So when Larry Hughes is a free agent, that's who you get. You bring in Ben Wallace, an over the hill Ben Wallace. You bring in an over the. I mean, listen, I love Shaq, but he was toward the end at that stage.
I was joking with somebody else about Shaq.
Else?
When Shaq left Phoenix for Cleveland, it was the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
So if you really think about it, he was about as good in Phoenix as he was in Miami. Mm-hmm. But when he went to Cleveland, he was definitely worse in Phoenix. Yeah, and then he went to Boston, and it was even worse in Cleveland.
Right. Can we not talk about that? Okay.
Yeah, it's really funny to think. So, like he had such a great career, and the last moment of his career was him falling while running. Sorry, Shaq.
So go back to Cleveland. So it's like they did try. Yeah. It wasn't like they were just like, okay, this is our team. If you don't, they did try. Yeah. And
remember the year before the decision, they did try to make an attempt for Chris Bosh too.
Yeah, I mean
Bosh blocked that.
And they bought in Antoine Jameson. Who
Bosh did the Who Wants to Go to Cleveland move.
No, I agree. Yeah. And they bought in Antoine Jameson at the deadline.
Well, after they balked on the Amari deal.
Anyway.
That is one.
Yeah, well, anyway. So they bring in Jameson, who was playing really good, and then the playoffs started, and that was it.
Yeah.
That was it. Mo Williams was good, then the playoffs started. That was, so it's not like they didn't try. So that situation's a little different. Obviously, you lose your best player, and then the whole thing just falls apart. So yeah, you're going to go from being here to there, but. So I wouldn't really say they made bad management moves. I think they did what they could, being the Cleveland Cavaliers. I mean, they basically let LeBron do whatever he wanted.
I think it's safe to say it was kind of a mix.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
They made some questionable moves, but it was like there also was some limits to what they could do.
Definitely. I mean, yeah, so...
I would say that.
So it's like one of those things, but Orlando, Minnesota, who's another one? There's gotta be who are we forgetting?
Well, we've already destroyed the Knicks.
I mean, you look at. I mean, the Bobcats are finally starting to kind of turn it around because.
What's funny about that though? Is remember when they signed Steve Clifford and everybody was kind of like
the coach? Everyone was like, "Who is this guy?
Why?
Who?"
Yeah, and he's one of the key reasons of how good they're doing.
Yeah, but also too, it's like you look at Al Jefferson balling. Mm-hmm. He's having some monster games. Kemba Walker is playing. I know your boy Kemba.
Yeah. You're MKG's been good for them on the defensive
end. Who's the other? Yeah. Oh shoot.
Zeller's
playing solid. That's why I said remember the beginning of the year.
That's another buyout spot that we didn't mention earlier. Ben Gordon.
Oh yeah. Now, I can see Gordon going to a team and being the off the bench, just go out there, put the ball in the hole, and if you're hot, you'll play 20 minutes instead of 15. It depends where he goes. He's got to go to the right team. Because
I can see him as one of those guys that tries to go to like one of these contending teams.
yeah, definitely. Because ever since his Chicago days, that's it. He hasn't played.
Miami's looking for it too.
Yeah, he hasn't played on a wing. That would be like the perfect. Because obviously he's not Dwayne Wade, but
he could shoot.
He can score. Yeah, he can score. Ben Gordon put the ball in the hole. I mean, he can shoot. Yeah, but there's a difference between a guy that can just shoot and a guy that can just score. That's what I mean. I understand what you're saying. So he's
love
not.
Shooters, though,
yeah, no, I know. So
because, obviously LeBron's on the floor most of the time. I mean, they have a lot of other guys that dominate the ball before Ben Gordon's going to touch it.
Yeah.
So
the thing is, but Dwayne Wade, where his health is, he's not Dwayne Wade.
I think Michael Beasley would touch the ball before.
But if he can put the ball in the hole at that 2 spot and give Dwayne Wade a little more rest, that would be awesome for them if they can get him.
Especially rest during the regular season.
Yeah, even in some of the early playoff games too, though. Like the early rounds of the playoffs. And even I mean, obviously.
Maybe especially I know it's not likely, but even when they're playing like the better teams, like the Pacers, there's a game they happen to be up by 10.
You can put him out there because he can keep that production. I mean, obviously, like I said, he ain't Dwayne Wade. So because I know a lot of people, we know a few people who like to sugarcoat and change what we say. I'm not saying he's Dwayne Wade, but he can put the ball in the basket. That's what that's
pretty much all he does.
Yeah, that's his niche. So it's like LeBron could do his thing and he will score. Michael Beasley's kind of been a disappointment to me. I thought he would do more there this year.
I mean,
he doesn't really play a lot.
Yeah.
But I thought they would get more of him when he's on the court though. Like I watched a couple games when he's out there and it's just like, really? But anyway, that's my Michael Beasley rant because you remember how excited I was about that start of the year.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway.
It's done a little bit for him though.
Yeah, but I thought he'd do way more. Just because of his, you look at it like his skill set. The guy. I thought that they would have got that they'd get more out of him, but Ben Gordon to Miami would definitely be great for them just because like I say he's a 2. Give Dwayne Wade some, like you said, some rest. Save him for the games when they actually need him to play, and and that's So we'll have to watch for that too.
Keep Dwayne fresh for late game situations.
Late games, yeah. So, trying to think, is there anything else?
No, I think we talked about everything we planned and way more.
Way more. So much for me, Dan. And we said this was going to be a quick one.
just to tell you guys, I mean, obviously we go over everything before the show because it'd be stupid not to. Our plan was originally to just discuss the trades, the buyouts, and the JaVale McGee
update. That's it.
That was all.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh, this will be a quick show.
Yeah. Nope.
And
we start talking about everything else.
Yeah. But I think that might be it.
Okay.
We did mention JR's truck, so I feel like it's a full show.
Yeah, the streak continues.
There's only one thing that we haven't talked about. Well, we did talk about his team, but we didn't really specifically mention him. You know what I'm thinking of? It's your boy, dude.
Which one? I have a lot of boys.
Your boy from Cleveland.
Oh, Gilbert.
Yeah.
We did. Yeah, we mentioned his team, but.
Damn Gilbert. So.
Yeah.
So now I think we're fulfilled.
Yeah, I think we're officially.
And now we're officially fulfilled. We've mentioned Dan Gilbert and JR's truck.
JR's truck. Made fun of James Dolan.
We did.
Made fun of David.
David went off on James.
We had David Kahn, Otis Smith.
Yeah, a little throwback. The other throwback we talked about Stephon Marbury. Mm-hmm.
Rashard Lewis, Gilbert Arenas.
Yeah, Rashard Lewis got more time on the show than he does on the court.
Wow, that was good. That was good.
You like that?
That was good. That was good.
Yeah, I made that nice Andrew Bynum joke.
I'm still waiting to see him play in Indiana, by the way. I'm still waiting. I want to see him on the court playing for them. I'm waiting.
Saving him for the playoffs.
Okay. Hope so. Maybe. No, I just want to see it. That's all.
I am curious to see where all these buyouts go, though. We're going to be talking about them. I mean, of course.
Obviously, the most intriguing
depending
one.
on who it is and where he signs could be how
much
if
talk
we
they
just
get.
go, yeah, he went there. So
Anyway.
and then some of them, you know, like they might go somewhere and it might be the right person go to the right spot or the wrong person going to the wrong spot that just triggers something that could be a huge discussion.
So yeah, everybody got love today.
I would be interested with a Danny Granger re-signing in Miami or
Indiana?
In Indiana in 30 days.
That would be pretty interesting. Be good for Indiana.
Another reason why Larry Bird deserves Executive of the Year.
And then, yeah. So I guess does that?
Could I just say, how incredible has Kevin Durant been?
No, he's.
Especially since Christmas when Westbrook went down.
Yeah. So now the key is now that Westbrook is back.
We'll have to see how they play. I mean,
Can they?
Only 2 games together again. Yeah. Westbrook's still trying to work his way back. I mean, it's not.
Yeah. Well, but that's the No, he's been unreal, and I still.
LeBron's been pretty hot this past.
And
not that his whole season.
You know what the scary thing is? I mean, yeah, he should win the MVP, but would it surprise you if he didn't?
Kevin Durant?
Yeah.
At this point, yes.
It wouldn't surprise me.
To who?
LeBron would not surprise me at all.
No, Kevin Durant, MVP.
I understand. Listen, I agree with you, but dude, the NBA when it comes to some of their stuff, the awards is probably the most predictable league there is when it comes to handing out the awards.
This time it's easy. It's
I don't know. We'll see. Well,
I haven't heard anybody say LeBron since
see.
February.
We'll see.
No,
listen. I'm just saying. We'll see. So, because who has those votes? Because remember, who has those votes again?
The media.
Yeah. So we'll see.
The media guys, and they're all saying Kevin Durant for the most. It's almost all Kevin Durant.
All right. Well, we have another half of the season to go. I mean, if LeBron goes,
can still change it. I'm saying right now it's Kevin Durant.
So
there's still 2 months.
Yeah.
Well, a little under. So I mean, LeBron's not that far behind him.
No,
LeBron in the last 2 months can say, hey, I don't know if you guys remember me. I have 4 of those and 2 of these other MVP trophies that mean a little more. So yeah, you want to put my name in that hat?
Jason Collins signed a 10-day contract. I believe he played tonight.
Yes, he did.
I don't really see I don't understand really what the big deal is about.
Well, I can tell you what it is. I'm not saying that.
Well,
I agree with you that it doesn't need to be a big deal. Although in a sense it's kind of cool, in a way. I don't know. I mean, obviously it's a big deal because he's openly gay.
Yeah, but.
And I guess it's kind of cool because it's, it's obviously the NBA and the Nets way. The Nets obviously the first team, well, they're kind of desperate for a center, and obviously that's where he plays. I think the big question with Jason Collins was always not, will teams accept a gay guy? It's, is he good enough to be the first gay player that actually plays?
Yeah.
He's always been kind of.
They say he checked into the game today. I remember seeing that before we started filming. But we'll see. I mean,
he was a solid player, but he was never exceptional.
No.
So, but now they can really use the big body. So, and he is. So, it's kind of a cool thing, And like I said, the Nets and the NBA saying, we don't care if he's gay. This guy can play basketball.
Yeah, basically, and that's basically what it should come down to. Even though, now the whole. But yeah, so best of luck to Jason Collins and. I
don't know if you saw the Nets announced, or I think it was Billy King specifically stating that signing Jason Collins was specifically a basketball decision.
Right.
Kind of, to
Well,
try to kill the rumor that they somebody signed him just
because that's what they need, more PR.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people were, just I hope nobody just signs him just because to put him on a roster. I think that was Billy King's way of saying that's not why we did it. I mean, and knowing that they need a center, it doesn't surprise me that they signed a center. It's only a 10-day contract. It's just a tryout to see if he works, which hopefully he will.
You know what they made a big deal about in the All-Star game? You probably saw this. Violet Palmer did the game.
Yeah. They made she's the first female.
Yeah, they made a big deal about that. I'm like,
yes,
good for her. Good for her though. I mean, I know Leo. I always read stuff. Oh, she's terrible. You know what? She's reffing NBA basketball, and you're watching it on your couch. I'm not saying I always agree with every call that they make, and we've had arguments about this. She's reffing NBA basketball. So yeah, she's chasing LeBron, Durant, Westbrook, guys. She's chasing these guys down the court
and getting paid for it.
Would we be able to do that?
I would certainly try.
Would the average no offense, but would the average fat slob sitting on their couch be able to do that? I'm not talking about you, but all these fat slobs that sit on their couches and watch the games, they wouldn't be able to do that. So
and they tweet from their tablet.
Yeah. So you know what? Good for her. So give Violet Palmer a little shout out on our show.
Yeah. That's a nice shout out.
No, it's
very thoughtful of you.
No, I'm just saying, it's just like one of those things. It's
I agree with you.
So
well, you know how people are. The first of anything, you could be, the first left-handed guy to, first guy with a scar on his right ear to do something. And, you ever notice that? Like a lot of, he's the first guy to spit to his left on a Wednesday at 2:30, and
Right.
I'm just saying, if you watch a lot of products, they always try to be the first or something.
I know, but so I thought that was a nice little touch by the league to, kind of reward and recognize her for. I mean, she's been working in the league. She's putting some time in the league too. It's not like
She's not new.
And she doesn't, and she never makes herself part of the game like
Joey Crawford,
like your boy. I don't think Violet Palmer has ever trended on Twitter.
No. The Joey Crawford dance.
Yeah. I mean, maybe
bought the beers for the guys.
I didn't check, but maybe she.
Well, she might have trended the All-Star game,
but that's for a good reason. I don't think Joey Crawford has ever trended on Twitter for a good reason.
When it's not really for something that she did, but something she accomplished.
Yeah, it's
a difference.
Yeah, like I said, so good for Violet Palmer, and so. I think that we should close our show on a positive for once, or do we have a joke?
Well, I mean, we always close on the positive.
Or do we have a joke? Do we have a joke left?
This might be the first one we're not ending laughing.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say. Do we have a joke left in us, or no? Are we all done?
We can end on that.
Okay. All right.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
So on that note,
I guess we'll close it with the shout out to Violet Palmer. First female to referee the NBA All-Star game.
Even though, actually, you know what? No. Did you see Jim Boeheim get ejected the other night? Did you see it?
Oh, the Syracuse coach? Here's the thing.
I'm not talking about the call, but his reaction.
I didn't actually watch the game, though.
Oh, okay.
Here's the thing. What do you want? You go over. I got to tell you this. Now, I'll tell you why I know it happened, and then I want you to actually. Did
you see the reaction?
I want you to tell me what happened.
All right.
Okay. So here's the thing. For those of you, I did mention already in the show, I work in a restaurant. It's a restaurant bar. Okay. So I'm at what's called service bar. It's where I'm a server. I pick up the drinks. So I'm there. Above me is a TV. Okay. And it just so happened. I'm not looking at the TV. I'm working. But it just so happened it was Syracuse Duke.
Yeah.
Okay.
Big game.
So I was not watching the game because I'm at work. So I'm at service bar. All of a sudden, I realized that everybody was kind of looking in that direction, and I didn't really think much about the TV yet. I'm like, why is everybody looking over here? Then everybody goes, "Oh!" The whole bar, and I'm like looking around, and then I look up, and all you see is this. And now there's no audio. You just see. and then the referee going, and then he's like, and I'm like, because the TV's like directly above me, so I'm like, like what the?
Hey, well, you didn't see the immediate reaction.
Well, I didn't see. I didn't see the call. I don't know what he got mad at.
But you guys.
I know he got ejected, and he looked pissed. That's all I really know.
Yeah, well, you guys see the initial reaction.
All right. So what exactly happened?
So
because I meant to go back.
There was a close, block charge play. And I think the layup would have tied the game, and they called a charge, and he's on the court. The jacket, like he started to take the jacket off, but it didn't come off, so it's like flapping right in the ref's face, and that's probably when you saw that. So when I saw it, I immediately started dying. I forget where I was. I almost fell over out of my chair. I was laughing so hard. So I lied. So shout out to Jim Boeheim for losing his mind. And you know what's even funnier? He's been coaching forever.
Yeah.
That was the first ejection of his career.
Huh.
And it made it a good one. I'll show you. We'll watch the video when we're done filming. You're gonna just the reaction. So now we can say goodnight.
Was it a good call though?
No.
It was bad. I didn't see. I missed that part.
No. Everyone either said
it was a bad call.
Everyone either said block or just no call, and just
block or no call.
Yeah, and they called it a charge. So yeah, okay.
See, I want to bring up another point. Just really, I don't want to extend the show another 30 minutes. But I just want to say, and I guess this is more towards the NBA. I don't know exactly how college handles a situation like that, because I don't follow college quite as tightly as I do the NBA. But obviously, if that happened in an NBA game, that coach, should be checking their email because they're about to get a fine. You know what I mean? They're about to get a huge fine from the NBA, and it's they got double tagged. Now, I'm not saying that he didn't deserve to be ejected. You know what I mean?
Oh, it was great. It was good.
But it's he got ejected for reacting to a call that was bad. He was in the right. He went too far. But he was right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now he gets ejected. Missed the end of the game.
Yeah, but there was only 10 seconds left. It was only
technical. Don't they get shots?
Yeah, well, they actually said that. Well, it's funny because that actually probably cost them the game. But the reaction.
But that's kind of my point, though. Is there's these technical free throws now, and he's gonna have to. I'm sure the NCAA fines, right? I know they.
Yeah, they do. But
so I'm just saying.
I don't know if he'll get me because he left. He left the court. Because I know.
Well, not in a timely fashion. I saw that part.
Well, no,
he was yelling for a little bit. He looked like a general manager in the Major League Baseball for a minute. I thought he was going to charge the mound for a second. He didn't leave that timely. I'm just saying, but if you look back, and he's right, but nothing happens to the referee, and it's
but you don't know that though. You don't know that. You'd be surprised, like me, because I know this is off topic. I officiate for a college hockey conference, and obviously it's different sports.
Do you get fines for that?
No, but we get reprimand. We'll lose our next assignment, which is pretty much
money.
Yeah, I've seen guys get weekends taken away. I've seen guys get taken off the playoff list because over one, So
of course, it puts you in good or bad standing, but it's I don't know exactly how much college guys is compared to NBA guys. Would obviously get paid. I'm sure there's a big difference. Obviously, the NBA guys are the ones making money, but it's if let's say let's use DeMarcus Cousins. Because he's somebody who's likely to get a technical. And obviously the league, reviews all technical fouls. So let's say Joey Crawford, and I only use him because he loves to give technicals. Let's say Joey Crawford, gives, to Marcus, that's too much technical foul, and obviously that he gets to shoot a free throw, which could cost them a point, which in some games could cost you the game at 1 point, and then DeMarcus Cousins, is now awaiting, the NBA's decision because the NBA officials they review, and if it's and obviously if it sticks, they say, yeah, that was a good technical. Here's your fine. But if it doesn't stick, they rescind it. You get so many technicals before you miss a game. But it's like when they rescind it, like they should look at Joey Crawford and be like you went too like that. At that point, it's like the referee went too far, and obviously the referees don't make NBA player money, so what's the technical fine? $5,000.
Yeah, but Joey Crawford, he's been suspended before. He's the only NBA referee that I could even think of in recent memory that's been suspended.
I'm not saying they should match the fine.
No, but
send the $5,000 fine to Joey Crawford.
But he's been suspended before, Crawford.
Yeah,
and he's the only referee that I could even think of.
But he's not the only referee that gives bad texts.
Oh, I understand that.
Or makes bad calls.
Yeah.
And like I said, in a technical situation where there was supposed to be a fine, it's like, there's maybe the fine should be flipped in some sense. Maybe there should be some sense that where Joey Crawford maybe is and I don't understand why they won't like just publicly say like, look, Joey Crawford was wrong and he'll be knocked with, so and so, and maybe it's not like $5,000-$10,000 that these NBA guys are getting. But even if it's like, this is his, so many offenses, this year, and it would make these guys think twice before giving stupid technical. Like I said, in the Jim Boeheim situation, it's like, give him a tech, eject it from the game. But there's some techs where it's like, and obviously the NBA rescinds them, so people, the officials in the NBA are thinking the same thing. Was that really necessary? And you gotta take those out because you get two. What if you have two unnecessary technicals in the same game and that team loses by one? You take those technicals out, they would have won by one.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like you just changed the entire game for bad calls.
All right. Well, we'll have to. Adam Silver, if you're watching, get on that.
Some things to think about.
Get on that. So
we'll have to talk about that. Not just the referee thing, but maybe some ideas for Adam Silver. Then we'll send him the episode. We'll maybe do that in the off season.
We'll do we'll just do like a for the commissioner segment.
Yeah.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
That will have to be much better planned out than our shows, though.
Oh yeah, this will probably have to be a off season thing. Like like when nothing else is happening, we'll talk about some of our ideas.
Gotcha. All right,
and we'll do the whole episode will be just for Adam Silver. We'll dedicate it to him.
There you go. All right. So we didn't go over a half hour, but we probably went like 10 minutes. So. So on that note, a really short show turned into a normal long show. So shout out to Jim Boeheim and Violet Palmer for giving us some final topics. We ended on a joke though. We did end on a joke. So,
we did.
Yeah. Sorry, I had to. I had to. So all right. Well.
Well, it is. We're a week away from March Madness too. Should be interesting. So we'll have to tune in for that.
Yeah. All right. So
we're going down the stretch of the NBA. So definitely stay tuned because we're going to start talking. The upcoming playoffs. When the playoffs come, we're going to start making some
bold
predictions. Yeah, definitely. We'll definitely have to keep up with that. And of course, give you news throughout the playoffs. So that's it for this episode of the White Snoop T-Rose Show. Of course, I'm the White Snoop, and this right here is T-Rose. So you guys have a good day.
Whatever you're watching.
This is the White Snoop presented by the White Snoop and T-Rose Show.
Watch more videos like old episodes on YouTube and subscribe to youtube.com/WhiteSnoop44. Follow and tweet us at 44entertainment, at WhiteSnoop44, at T-Rose_28. Use the hashtag Snoop Rose Show. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/WhiteSnoop244, facebook.com/TheWhiteSnoop44. Email us at WhiteSnoopProductions@gmail.com.